Does Ryan Grubb finally have Ty Simpson in the best position of his college career so far? It looks like it looks like it. It looks like it. Um, Alabama beat Georgia, as many of you know. Um, beat Georgia, beat Vanderbilt. The I guess they say it was the revenge game after last year after Vanderbilt took it to Alabama. This year Alabama took it to Vanderbilt. Um, it was a good game. Alabama ended up getting the win 30-14. This Alabama offense is looking good. Um, Ever since the FSU game, it feels like Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator for Alabama, has figured out what it is that Ty Simpson likes to do, what he's comfortable with doing, and it's showing. It's showing on the field. This is what we like to call for the people that play college football. They like to call it. You're taking things from the meeting rooms and you're applying them to the field. When you do that, it's crazy how different you look, how different a team looks. Um, I feel like Ryan Grubb has figured it out. Um, you know, you look at his completion percentage. His lowest completion percentage after the FSU game was against Georgia. He was completion percentage was at 63%. At the FSU game, he was sitting at around 53%, which is still above half. But sometimes I like my quarterback to want I at least want my quarterback to be sitting at least around 70%, 65% completion rate, 75% completion rate. Like, that's what you really want to be sitting at. The Georgia game, he's at 63%, Wisconsin 82%, Vandy 74%. He's looking much better. He is slowly trending upward. I've heard a lot of people want to put him in the Heisman race now. It's kind of felt like at this point, going into week 7, if I had to say my Heisman favorites, Dante Moore is leading the pack right now. Ruben Bain, a close second behind him with the way he's been playing with that Miami defense. Carson Beck, another guy perhaps, but those are the main three. I feel like are in contention for the Heisman right now. Those are the main three: Dante Moore, the quarterback from Oregon; Ruben Bain Jr., the defensive end from Miami; and Carson Beck, the quarterback from Miami. Off the top of my head, just three guys, and of course you can throw in Jeremiah Smith in there, him like that. You can throw Ryan Williams in there. Maybe he hasn't had really a big games lately, but because I think, like I said, Ty Simpson, he's distributing the ball very well. And the way he's playing, you could make an argument that you could put him in there too. I can see that argument being made for Ty Simpson. Because he looked real good these past couple weeks since the FSU loss. Um, and they're gonna need it. It seems like going forward, Alabama won't. If FSU keeps on this trend of losing, Alabama won't be able to hang their hat on that loss against Florida State. You have to just chalk it up to Florida State caught them with their pants down. What do you mean with their pants down? They caught them with a new coordinator and a new quarterback. Usually, that results in a loss when you're able to catch uh, a team with a new coordinator, breaking in a new quarterback, and breaking in a new coordinator. That usually doesn't bode well for the team. So maybe Florida State took a chance on that. But in the same sense, Florida State was breaking in a new quarterback as well. So just week 1 vibes, just early season, catch them slipping, it's just one of those days, like I say, any given Saturday. And so, but since that game, he looks good, man. They look good. That defense has looked good. Quay Rashad, LT Overton, Yanza Pierre, Deontay Lawson, those guys have looked good, real good. Um, I think this game against Missouri is going to be a better game than most people think. Missouri currently sitting at 5-0 right now. This is going to be a good game. I feel like Eli Drinkwitz, he's doing some good things over there in Missouri right now. Their QB, Bue Pribella, I probably butchered his name. I'm bad about butchering names. But he looks good. Since he came over from Penn State, the guys looked pretty good. Sitting at around 76% completion percentage, which is in my books pretty darn well as a quarterback. Not just him though. Ahmad Hardy, their star running back. He's looked good. Um, this is going to be a good game. This is definitely a good game. this offense can score. I'm interested to see what Kane Womack, defensive coordinator for Alabama. I'm interested to see how he schemes for this offense. I feel like this is going to be one of those games where it's going to be coordinator versus coordinator. I feel like the Jimmys and Joes are pretty even. When I say Jimmys and Joes, the guys on the field, I feel like they're pretty even between Alabama and Missouri. So this is going to come down to a coordinator game. Cade Womack, the defensive coordinator for Alabama, versus Kirby Moore, the offensive coordinator for Missouri. This is going to be who can put your guys in a better position to succeed type of game right here. You know, I feel like it's going to boil down to, can Kirby Moore put his guys into a position to get by or get past Kane Womack's defense, or can Kane Womack scheme his guys into the perfect position to be able to stop whatever it is Moore is trying to do for the offense? It'll be interesting to see. Um, the thing about this Missouri offense, though, I was reading the injury report. Caden Green, their starting left tackle, he's been dealing with a right foot injury. Right now, Eli, the head coach, said that he is questionable for the game. Saturday, I think it was yesterday. He said he did get some rehab reps in. He was on the practice field doing some rehabilitation stuff. He said he looks promising, but they won't really know until it gets closer to game day. I guess they're trying to be precautious with it. But getting Caden Green would be big if he's healthy. You're gonna need that. You know, you got Quay Rashad, Deontay Lawson, Pierre, those three guys. You got guys like that coming off the edge. You're gonna need all of your guys. Um, I feel like the biggest thing, Dominic Geis, starting their guard. He's gonna be a pivotal piece. He's gonna have to match up against LT Overton. I feel like so they got to be prepared for that. Missouri defense is what I'm also looking at. Their defensive coordinator, Corey Batoon, how is he going to attack Ty Simpson? I think the biggest thing with their defense, you got guys like Jalen Catalone, Chris McClellan, Zion Young, and Joshua Trotter. Still pissed off that Joshua Trotter left West Virginia to go to Missouri, which I understand guys want to leave when there's turnover in the coaching staff. Um, it kind of sucks that I can sit here and literally, if I had a quarter for every West Virginia guy in the past 3 to 4 years that has transferred, I have probably a decent chunk of change. Um, just off the top of my head, Joshua Trotter went to Missouri. CJ Donaldson went to Ohio State. He's doing well there right now. And then I think it was a year or two ago, West Virginia had a DB that transferred to Georgia, ended up playing pretty good for them. So those just are three off the top of my head. There's more guys than that, but it just seems like West Virginia is always losing a lot of guys that are going to bigger programs and then doing well. Joshua Trotter, he's one of the leaders on that defense for Missouri. He's doing pretty well. For those of you who don't know, Joshua Trotter, his dad did play in the NFL, and so NFL bloodline right there. You hate to lose those. Um, but yeah, what does this Missouri defense do to try to hold Ty Simpson in that offense? The biggest thing I feel like Ryan Grubb is going to try to scheme up Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams been kind of quiet. He's still making his plays, but I thought this is going to be a game where Ryan Grubb tries to force him the ball, try to give Williams a 2-3 touchdown type of day. But I feel like Ty is definitely getting better at reading defenses. Watching the Vanderbilt game and the Georgia game, he's definitely he's a runner when you're inside the red zone. I've noticed that when you're inside the red zone, Ryan Grubb's more open to calling up quarterback run plays because he know Ty doesn't have like no breakaway speed or no topping speed. Ty has enough speed to get 10 yards, maybe 15, and then he's getting hawked down by somebody, by whoever it is. That's where I think they scheme up the plays for Ty in the red zone that are quarterback run plays. But majority of the time, I think Ryan Grubb, he wants Ty to sit back there and dissect defenses with his head. And I think Ty has shown he can do that. He can read defensive coverages and he can make his read. He's gonna go through his progression. He's gonna go through 1, 2, 3. then check down to your running back. He's getting to that level, and this is going to be a game here I'm interested to see what does he do against this stacked Missouri defense. Missouri runs a 4-2-5. For those of you who don't know, 4-2-5, 4 D linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 DBs. It'll be interesting to see how Corey, the defensive coordinator, how he handles this. Does he pressure tie? Does he bring pressure? Do you risk leaving your secondary, leaving your cornerbacks in one-on-one coverage? I feel like this is a game. Jalen Catalone is your strong safety from Missouri. Do you feel comfortable if you bring a linebacker, if you bring Joshua Trotter on a blitz, and now you're in man coverage? Do you feel safe leaving Jalen a safety if they bring, say, Ryan Williams into the slot? Do you feel comfortable with that matchup? Is that a matchup that you want? We don't know. I wouldn't want that matchup. If anything, call zone blitzes, fire zone blitzes is three deep, three under, and usually one or two guys blitzing. So you'll basically have best way to put this. Um, Most likely, you'll have both your cornerbacks are going to be playing the deep halves of the field, deep sides of the field, left, right side. You'll have a safety playing middle of the field. You'll probably have one safety dropping down. Then you'll probably have a linebacker sitting in that low zone with that safety controlling the low zone. And then your other linebacker, your other safety are probably most likely blitzing off the edge. Call that a fire zone blitz. Um, do you do that? Do you see how good can he read defenses? I don't know. I would try it, at the beginning of the series, try to bring pressure. If he can't handle the pressure, now you see something that's working. But of course, adjustments will be made throughout the game. And I thought that's why I said earlier in the video, this is going to be coming down to not just your Jimmys and Joes, but whose coordinator is better at putting their guys in a position to succeed. So it'll be interesting to see with this game. Real quick, we'll talk about what's next for Texas. They took one on the chin against Florida. Um, Following Archie standing over top of a Sam Houston guy who probably will be working uh, in engineering once he graduates. He didn't look like the same. He didn't look like the same guy he did against Sam Houston. Did he look bad? No, he didn't look bad. He didn't look great. He still has not looked like the guy that was advertised all off season by everybody and their dad. He has not looked like that guy. 55% completion rating. You look at Archie on the season right now, and right now he's sitting right at 60% completion rating, 11 TDs with 5 interceptions. He has 135 attempted passes, 81 of them completed. Um, and you go back and you look at the tape, a lot of the stuff is just mistiming with receivers. He's underthrowing guys. Guys are running a shallow route. He throws it on the back shoulder instead of leading in front of the guy. His stance when he's throwing the ball, he has like an elongated, like he's not setting his feet properly. Like he has an elongated stance. And it's just a lot of things you can see going wrong with Archie. I guess you can kind of tell he got away with a lot of these things in high school, and he got away with them in those 3 games against UTEP, San Jose State, and Sam Houston. But against Ohio State, a good opponent, elite opponent, against Florida, somebody on the same level as you. They may not have the same recruits as you, the same 5-star that you have, but those guys are still in the SEC with you. So that means they can run with you. When he's playing, it seems like when he's playing against competitions on his level, it's a different arch. When he's playing against competition that's below his level, he can get away with some of the bad mechanics that he has. But when you're playing against good competition to good to great competition, that type of stuff you should beat, bro. You can't have bad mechanics, against a Florida team. You can't have bad mechanics against a Brent Venables led Oklahoma defense. Okay, I'm guarantee you, even if John Material doesn't play this week in the Red Rivalry, even if it's Hawkins is starting, I still feel like this Oklahoma team might boat race Texas. Um, I'm guaranteeing you, Brent Venables is licking his chops. He's seeing the mistakes that Archie's making, and he's licking his chops. This might not end well for Arch. Brent is known for disguising defenses. You go back and look at even before Oklahoma, you go back and look at his Clemson tape. When he was the defensive coordinator at Clemson, dude had quarterbacks in a blender. Dude had quarterbacks thinking they had 12 guys on the field. And now that he's taking over full time play calling duties on the defense side of the ball for Oklahoma, this Oklahoma defense is night and day from last year. You know, and I'm just it's just I see no positive outlook that Sark can help Archie out. The good thing, like I said, watching the game, the only time we really saw Arch succeed was when his coach helped him to succeed, which that's part of the game. Um, One play in particular that brings to mind was they faked the reverse. They faked the handoff. He faked the reverse to the guy coming behind him, and then in all the confusion, Florida left the drag route open behind the linebacker. Linebackers came up. They left the drag route open behind it, and he just dumped it over there. That's just scheme calling right there. That's just Steve Sarkisian being in his bag, saying, "All right, let me dial something up to free up a receiver, free up a tight end." And that's just simple as we call it eye candy. You just boom, fake the handoff, fake the reverse. Got a guy coming back behind the linebacker, just dump it over there. Starts Steve gonna have to do a lot of that. Sarkisian gonna have to do a lot of that play calling if he wants to beat this Oklahoma team. Because if not, they're gonna shut you out. You probably won't even score. You probably won't even score 14 points. And this defense, dude, you could have stopped. We're talking about the same Florida team that South Florida stopped from scoring 21 points. Like, you let that Florida team beat you. And now you're going to get an Oklahoma team that's been humming. And I guess your best bet is that their backup quarterback plays, and he's not even a slouch. He's pretty good. His darn self, he's pretty good. Dude, it's gonna get ugly, dude. This could get ugly. Like I said, Brent Venables is he's in my opinion, he's number one defensive coordinator in college football. I know he's the head coach, but in terms of defensive play calling, he's the number one defensive play caller in my book. In terms of current college football defensive play callers. Jim Knowles got exposed. You got beat by Sunshine from Remember the Titans. If you watch Remember the Titans, you know Sunshine with the long blonde hair. He got beat by Sunshine calling plays. Yeah, Penn State went and paid that dude all that money to call the defense just to get beat by Sunshine from Remember the Titans. That's pretty embarrassing. So I'll talk about them at a later date. But it's too much stuff for Archie, man. Mechanically, timing down with the receivers, um, throwing mechanics, just it's a lot going on right now, and I think he really needs to go see a QB coach, like a true QB coach, like I think it's Carson Palmer or one of the Palmer brothers. They like a QB guru. He really needs to go see one of them because there's a lot of things wrong with his game, and I think that he got by doing a lot of this stuff wrong just based off of he was better than his competition when time came down to it. He was not better than the competition technically, fundamentally. He was just better athletically, better than his opponents before. And you can't win games like that. That's a bad recipe for disaster right there. So yeah, this is I'm picking Oklahoma in this game. I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked if Texas even scores 21 points. If they score 21 points, I would be shocked. But I just don't see Brent Venables giving up a game of this magnitude to a quarterback that's been struggling since the beginning of the season. I just don't see it.